Piggy on the surface is a pretty balanced game, having very simple gameplay and mechanics that are very easy to understand and master. But Piggy has a dark secret hidden behind this facade, which is the fact that Piggy's balancing is practically non-existent. While most people may not know it, Piggy's actually incredibly broken and needs to be rebalanced. In today's video, I want to dive into the ugly and explain why Piggy is possibly the most unbalanced game I've ever played. Also, before we get started, you should subscribe. I'm on my way to 10k. Blah 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 blah. Let's get started. Before I tell you my issues with Piggy, you must first understand the basics. Piggy is a game where you're thrown into a map as either Piggy or the survivor. Survivors are actively trying to escape, whilst Piggy's job is to catch and kill all of the survivors. There are a bunch of game modes to play and a lot of chapters to explore and escape. Piggy gets traps to make their life easy, and players get abilities to make their lives easy. This concept is a really successful one on Roblox, especially with Piggy. However, the endless bugs and rigged systems need to be checked. Now that you understand the basics, I'll be going over every last aspect of the game that I view as unfair or needing to be reworked. At least the more important ones. There are a lot of minor issues that I just don't have time to explain. Let's start off with the voting system. This is how maps and game modes get decided for each round, which on paper is a good idea, but when executed, you start to see its flaws. For starters, there are some maps that are easier than others, which can lead to maps like Carnival always being voted. All it takes is 3 noobs to completely rig the system. This is pretty bad, but at least you can beat Carnival as Piggy, unless they vote for tag or infection. Then the game is almost impossible to win, unless you're the player. Sure, people who pick Carnival suck, but it's really hard to fumble on a map as easy as Carnival. I plan on making a longer video on this topic, so I won't be diving any farther into the voting system. Just know, it's unfair, it's broken, and I think it needs to be reworked. As I mentioned, Piggy has a lot of game modes, and while some of them are decent, there are a handful that shouldn't even exist. For starters, Tag is a game mode where the whole server gets turned into a Dave and has to catch one survivor, who by complete chance was not made into a tagger. This is really hard, because the tagger's hitbox is garbage, and you're infinitely slower than the survivor. It's a team-based game mode, but in a game like Piggy, you won't find many players who won't know how to work as coordinatedly as Tag requires. I did see a video that was rebalancing Tag, and I really like it. Honestly, I'm gonna link it in the description because it was just a really nice video. Props to this guy. And then we have Infection, which is even worse than Tag, as although you are Piggy and you can infect others to be a part of your team, you won't have any traps, and on a map like Carnival, you kind of need those. Even player is unfair, but I won't dive into that just yet, as there's a lot of aspects that need to be listed, and overall, it's just a lot to talk about. But stay tuned, because I will be diving into it. This is one of my biggest problems with Piggy, and it's the fact that almost every map has a hellishly bad spot to run in circles, even if Piggy's placed traps in the way. Come on, man, why is Forest, Carnival, and School all so freaking bad when it comes to how they're built? People wonder why I say Piggy needs to camp in over half of all chapters, and this is the reason why. No matter how many traps you place, a good player will be able to loop you and destroy you until they eventually escape. There's nothing you can do on some of these maps, and it's genuinely annoying. Let's not even dive into the fact that it takes it under a minute to escape gallery. I won't even explain the problem with that, as I think it's very obvious. Overall, almost every single map is unfair due to the fact that it's either Piggy based or player based. Mainly player based, but it's never equal. Items are a key essential to the progression in a chapter when you're playing Piggy, and are completely randomized on where they may spawn. This is incredibly unfair, considering if you get good RNG, you can escape almost any map in under 2 minutes, but if you get bad RNG, the game's basically soft-locked. And in some maps like Outpost, items like the purple key can spawn in places where you can't even get to them until the exit's already opened. What's the point of that? This can allow Piggy ability to camp almost anything in this chapter and have zero consequence. It makes the game a lot less about skill and more about luck and RNG. This is really annoying, and I've had matches that were just unplayable due to the purple key getting soft locked somewhere I can't get to unless I use the item Piggy's Camping. This is harder to fix, and it requires a lot of thinking, as if you replace item RNG, you have to find a new way to make things work. But I think it's almost necessary, seeing as it takes the skill out of Piggy. Sure, you can memorize all the spawn locations, but that won't help you if purple key's sitting behind the gate and outpost. There are so many traps that you would never use in a lifetime due to how OP these 3 traps are. Crawling trap can counter most stuns, black hole trap is completely broken, and snowman trap is the most OP long-term trap you can place. That comes with a little side bonus of being able to soft lock a game when placed on an item. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention how crawling trap allows Piggy to go through vents after using one. You would never use any other trap in the game because they are so much more worthless when compared to these 3 traps. You can argue inflatable and concoction are somewhat good, but they're also pretty buns. I don't understand why the devs can't add good traps, but whatever the reason is, it makes the variety and fairness in these 3 basically non-existent. A game like Piggy should not have skins that allow you to see through walls, go invisible, and even have 0 warning sounds. And on the other hand, there shouldn't be skins that can get completely soft locked, skins with the worst collision, and skins that completely destroy your frames. It's insane that these things even got past testing, and I honestly question if the devs even tested these things out in the first place. Skins should not have advantages or disadvantages, and it's understandable if it's small, like how Roby's hard to see. But once you have a skin like Laura that has no footsteps and one of the quietest themes in the game, you start to understand the difference between the two. Also, why are some skins just so unoptimized that they break mobile devices and low-end PCs? I just don't get it. Just like traps, player abilities are insanely broken and need to be checked. Whoever made Sprint was high while making it because it can just counter every single thing Piggy's capable of. Every last strategy and trap you can place. And it's the default ability you get for completely free. This ability removes the need for juking and proper thinking when you're playing and making risky moves, all because it can save you from just about anything the game can throw at you. Warp is incredibly buggy and can be used to glitch out of maps, and then we have Decoy, possibly the biggest must-have for any Piggy player. This is basically a temporary stun if used properly. Overall, these abilities combined with everything else is just another reason why you won't want to be Piggy in this game. It's much more fun being a survivor, and much more fair. I can understand this a little more. Anti-cheats can be hard to make, and I hear they're pretty expensive. With that said, Piggy is a game that used to pull the largest amounts of players on Roblox at its prime, and therefore has no excuse to not have an anti-cheat already in place. Hell, it doesn't even have to be a really good one, just something to keep players from scripting and making the game completely unenjoyable for all the other players. And I understand they have a report system in the Discord server, but this will never solve all the issues, and there will always be more scripters. And I understand that an anti-cheat wouldn't solve it either, but at least it would help. The amount of things that get past bug testing are insane. I honestly question if they even bother with bug testing, like I said earlier. Or do they just add stuff and hope for the best possible outcome? Because sometimes it really seems like that. Let me list a few bugs so you understand what I mean. Black hole trap holding people through floors, slipping through walls, speed glitches, and so many more. Too many to talk about in this video. In fact, I plan on making a video covering just about every glitch I know in Piggy. So if you're interested, you should subscribe. But anyways, I don't even understand how these glitches got in. I don't understand why they're possible. They hurt my head just trying to figure out how some of them even exist. Like honestly, how does something as OP as this slide into the game? An infinite sprint is just like the most OP glitch in Piggy, and should not even be a thing. I can understand something like black hole trap, and even though I hate that glitch, I can understand how it got in. But someone explain to me how this even works, please. Overall, the one thing you've probably gained from this video is Piggy is a lot more biased into players' favor rather than Piggy's. Players have abilities, move faster than Piggy, and have complete power over the map and even game modes. And they can amp it up by glitching, which is just completely unfair. All Piggy really has the power to do is place traps and camp. Players even have the power to stun Piggy with a gun in just about every map, which in and of itself is completely broken. Gun was added to deal with campers, yet no one really seemed to think about what would happen to the people who don't camp. Gun's half the reason why camping's now necessary to win in a competitive server. You can disagree if you'd like to, but it's a sad truth. Player abilities like Sprint and Decoy are very broken. Player abilities like Sprint and Decoy are just very broken. Decoy allows you to disable any one of Piggy's traps, apart from the snowman trap. And Sprint will just allow you to completely counter this trap and escape certain death. Overall, players have way too much power over Piggy. I believe it's a really big problem. I mean, like, in order for me to even have a fair 1v1, I need to make 50 or so rules, which is just completely insane. I should not need to make 50 rules for Piggy to be balanced. Overall, I think we can agree that Piggy is 100% unbalanced in at least some form or way. There's still a lot of other things I won't have time to talk about, but they do also make the game unfair. For example, glitchy traps and random bugs. With that said, I will be making a video talking about all the bugs and glitches in Piggy soon, so keep your eyes open for that. And of course, with all said and done, this has been Wendigo, and I'm going to sleep now.